Audi, 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 Audi. Okay, let's go. Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. My name is Anthony and this is the Audi, this is the facelifted for 2020 Audi A5 Sportback, and our test model today is in Navara Blue, and it might just be my favourite colour. I'm going to let Tim do some gratuitous sexy shots now. Do you ever have that nagging fear that you have absolutely no style? Well, fear no more, because Audi will sell you it in the form of a style pack for about €2,205. And you may well wonder, well, what is style? Well, it turns out it's some massive 20-inch alloys, a panoramic sunroof, and ambient lighting in the interior. So we'll start with the boot, because I suppose that's the upside of a 4-door coupe, 5-door coupe. It's got an electric tailgate and just under 500 litres of space from the standard boot. You drop the seats down and they actually drop flat, and you get, I think, around 1,300 litres of space. So that is the appeal of this car. It's very good looking, it's very practical, you know, sort of like a sexy mop. So I suppose this whole bit is the reason why you buy a Sportback. Still looks good, but you have the extra seats, an extra bit of space in the back. It's kind of as expected, really. Headroom is tight thanks to that sloping roof, so your fringe will have to be, your fringe will be compromised, I think, in this. Legroom, on the other hand, is pretty good. I wouldn't be too compromised here sitting behind myself. I'm 6 foot, that's set to my driver position, and my legs are fine, no complaints whatsoever. Some other features in the back include the leather armrest to make you nice and comfortable and settle in there. There's also 2 USB ports down here that are charge only, and it's quite blatantly typed on there in big white letters, charge only, and a 12-volt socket. So the first thing when I sat in the Audi A5 was I wanted to lower the seat immediately. So reach for the handle, and no, you can't go any lower. This is as high as you sit. I would like to sit lower into what is an excellent cabin, just to feel more cosseted and more in the car. Feels like I'm sort of up a bit too high, if that makes sense. Now, today's test car is fitted with these excellent S-Line seats that are Alcantara and leather. And I have decided that Alcantara and leather is better than just leather. It just makes more sense in Ireland, and I'll fight anyone who disagrees with me. Moving on to the rest of the cabin, well, it does have a distinctly previous generation feel, which is fair enough because this is only a facelift. If I was being picky, I would like maybe the screen not to be plonked here on the dash and just built in and integrated, kind of like the newer stuff. But on the plus side, it just has twiddly knobs for your air conditioning, for your temperature, your volume, and your direction, which just makes so much more sense than some of the screens and stuff going on nowadays. This is brilliant. One thing that has pleased my OCD is the perforated leather on the gear selector is the same as the perforated leather here on the steering wheel. And these steering wheels, Audi steering wheels, I'm going to say it, are the best. They're just, it's the right size, it just fits in your hands perfectly, and it looks lovely. It's a little work of art here in front of me, and it's nice to see when you're driving along. Great steering wheels. Not a huge fan of the gloss black here on the center console. It's kind of prone to fingerprints, and just maybe kind of the brushed aluminium is a bit nicer, but it's fine. Being picky here. Practicality is pretty good too. You have cup holders in front, stuff in the door bins, but the storage under the armrest is quite small. You'd fit maybe your phone and your wallet, and that's about it. There's a nice little slot here for your key, but do keep in mind if you have a big bunch of keys, it will rattle and knock around the place, so you might not use that. Also on our car, we have the panoramic sunroof, and it does open fully to a proper sunroof. Ah God, remember the days when you had a car and like you could stick your head out the sunroof? Ah, the 90s, what a great time. Do you know, Macaulay Culkin turned 40 there recently? I feel so old. So that's basically it for the front. No massive complaints, great place to be, and it looks really well too. So, gold star. So behind the wheel of the A5 Sportback, well, engine choice is pretty simple here. There are only 2. A diesel and a petrol. Both are 2 litre, both are turbocharged. The diesel, though, you do get varying outputs of 163 brake horsepower or 190, and the petrol is only 190. Now, if you were hoping for a manual A5, those days are gone. This is only available in 7-speed auto, and you can have either front wheel drive or quattro all-wheel drive. Today we have the 163 brake horsepower with front wheel drive only. So 0 to 100 kilometers an hour takes 8.4 seconds, but that's not really the impressive feature of this engine. It's that mid-range torque, as with all diesels, where it's much more impressive. So you're tipping along nicely at 50 kilometers an hour, and we have paddle shifters here, so you can actually drop down with that to get the peak torque and pull away, and it's very impressive and smooth actually, which is surprising on what are very chunky 20-inch alloys. It's very comfortable, and actually when you're on the motorway or dual carriageway and doing those kind of speeds, it's very comfortable, very relaxed. Gearbox works away on its own. I haven't felt the need to use the paddles that much, but the gearbox works away on its own. Settle in and you cover your journey relaxed, comfortable, and arrive happy. No pain, seats are excellent. Yeah, it's a great cruiser, great grand tourer. You do miles in it without any issue. And actually, fuel economy is pretty decent too. So the computer here in front of me says 6.4 litres, but I think that's probably just from the style of people who've been driving it, maybe. Because I think you'd easily get kind of the 5s, maybe 5 litres, 5.5, 6 if you're pushing it, but they're impressive figures. I think that's in around 50 mpg if you're still working in own money. Right, now moving on to the handling. So the A5 looks so good, looks so muscular, sporty and athletic, but that does not quite translate to its driving prowess. It handles okay, it's kind of neutral. You know, you can position it without any massive issue, but when you're pushing it to the limits, you're not always sure where the grip is because there's not a huge amount of feel to the steering. If you'd like to change the steering feel, there are a few driving options, and they are efficiency, comfort, auto, dynamic and individual, and you can control the engine response and steering weight basically. If you pop it in dynamic mode, the steering weight's up to kind of better reflect the size and sportiness of the A5, but at the same time it just, I don't know, it just doesn't encourage you to drive the way you might think. It's not massively fun, but it's perfectly competent and a great package overall. I really wouldn't have any massive complaints. I can 100% see why the A5 Sportback resonates with people. You don't have to compromise massively on practicality, and it looks so good, particularly in this colour on those alloys. This is a gorgeous car, and like, that's win-win. If you'd like to search Cars Ireland for an A5, please do click on the link above. I think pricing starts in around the 50 grand mark. Now, if you are in the market for an A5, I wouldn't discount the A6 either. I had that a few weeks ago, and it's a very impressive package. Maybe it doesn't look quite as good, but it has a bit more practicality, and the looks are just, they're marginal really. That's it for this week. Please do like and subscribe if you've never been here before. I hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back again next week for another review. See you later.